All right, what's up, everybody? All right, so we've been making re constant emphasis, and we've been constantly re-emphasizing that when we will do these what's it called sequences, we will be able to understand this big four, right? And we said that you know before and just outside of this whole video how to say project that we've been putting out for you guys on YouTube, that we've already done this, and that it works. That once you learn all these, um, specifically, you'll be able to understand this. However, um, we didn't go through all these different ones. However, um, the series is to show that it's supposed to work. Um, we created this whole series with the start of just first asking that when you want to ask a ChatGPT to learn something, what you could always do is one thing you could do is you could start for yourself a you can what's it called? You can ask it to give you a bunch of projects that what would be the specific projects to do that by doing them, you can understand this piece of code over here, right? So um, now that's what sequence one HTML, this text came from, right? So like we said, we did it already. And so sequence two was generated because we did project one in the first video, and then we wanted to bring it down even lower, right? So we asked, well, what would you have to do to be able to understand that? So, well, we started learning all this stuff. We started doing the first one, and then we said, okay, well, let's take it down a step further. We make for us a sequence of projects that by doing those projects, we'll be able to understand at least the first project of the sequence of projects that will help us understand the first project of this sequence. That by doing these, we will be able to understand Big Four, right? So that's what it did for us. It gave us just a bunch of projects, and the whole thing is in mind that once we do all of them, we'll be able to understand the big master project, which is this. And the process works with sequence one. However, you won't. I wanted to tell you guys that we didn't do these ones outside of this video series, so that's why we're gonna do them together. And it's pretty fun, it seems, and it really, they say AI, you gotta be careful with some of the stuff. Make sure you double check. However, for code, it actually seems pretty good, and you know, um, we've been kind of testing it and learning with it, and yeah, it's pretty cool. We've been moving up. All right, so we did this project last time. Um, let's add this set of what's it called dollar signs over here. Cha-ching. Um, we did the value input, working with values. Pretty fun. Hold up. Did we do this? Okay, so how do we do this guy? Um, wait a minute. This is not the right one. Hold up. Project three. Da, 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 da. Okay, yeah. Sorry. So, yeah, this is with the event listener. All right, so we don't want to do this one. All right. Anyway, we did this one. We did our third mini project. This is the one we started making mini projects for. And so last video we did this guy. So we started a sequence of these projects called mini projects, so we can understand the mini projects, so we can understand the third sequence, and we did the third sequence so we could understand the first project of the second sequence, and we did the second sequence that we can understand all when we do all the second sequence that we can understand the first project of the first sequence, and once we finish all the projects of the first sequence, we'll be able to understand four big, probably very, if you're a beginner, very deeply, very good, like very, professionally, according to like we'll be like mastery level according to what the AI said, you know. And however, as just from personal experience, um, just doing sequence one will get you to understand like four big pretty good. However, it'd be cool to do these projects with you guys, and I'm kind of doing them with you like as a first time also with the first sequence and second sequence. However, the first once you get to the first one, it's pretty cool. However, the Chat GPT says these are actually all prerequisites for the first sequence HTML. So it'd be cool to go over um, and how to say practice. However, it's pretty cool. Really good stuff. All right. Anyway, so we got this function that interacts with DOM. We did this guy. Okay. So today we're going to do da 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 function four. So we got project 7. How did it get there? Function 4. Wait a minute. Oh, project 5. Okay. So we're gonna do copy. Get this guy paste. Da da da. Project 5. Project 6. 5. Project 6. All right. So today we're gonna do this guy over here. Anonymous functions callback concept project. All right. So um. Go over here, set timeout function. A function can be passed into another function. All right, so um, function project. Probably doing this series will, how to say, be able to cover the entire JavaScript. How to say, um, the entire JavaScript. How to say, marathon. Um, the Magnus opus of JavaScript. All right. Write a couple of okay. How many? These are called callback functions. Uh, how many projects would you have to do in order to understand um, this code? And by doing them, you would be a master boss at this. All right. So, um, okay, so we did this. We did project like this. Assigning functions to variables. Agreed. Callback in plain form. So, um, got this guy over here. Let's see what this guy does over here. If we do inspect, we'll get this. Where's the inspect guy? Three. Inspect. There you go. All right, so we're gonna allow pasting. Allow pasting. Allow. What? Anyway, hold up. Whatever. What? All right, fine. Pasting. Clear. All right, so we gotta clear this guy. Hello. So this just greet. Hello. All right. So this just gets us. So we're working on the invisible side over here of the web. We wanted to kind of how to say test this function that it's writing for us to do over here. Um, so project 2, assigning functions to variables. We got this guy over here assigning functions to variables. Um, assign functions to variables. This guy is, what is this guy? This is what we did right now. So I guess we want to learn a little bit about callbacks. What a callback is. So we're gonna include that in a little mini project. Um, hopefully we just have many projects and not many is more. And need more minis. Um, okay, callback. All right, so let me get this guy, copy him. So, all right, we got this guy over here. Oops. Um, oops. So, function do something callback console log before calling back. So callback do something callback callback doing this. It'd be nice to figure out how this thing works though. Um, function. What in the world? Okay. Can can you beginner pro beginner projects? Would you have to do though? That after you do them, you would understand this though. Um, and what would be the contents of the programs that by doing them you would by default be a boss at this code over here though. All right, the boss like a boss. All right. All right. Great question. This code may look small, but it hides some powerful JavaScript mechanics, functions, parameters, on functions, and execution order. All right. So function basics. Okay, we did this guy. So we're not gonna go. We're just gonna have it many projects over here. Um. Wait a minute. Hold up. Oops. So I'm gonna get this guy over here. Console log hello world. Say hello. Right. Um. Function with parameters. Function with parameters. Functions with parameters. So remember, what the reason we're doing this whole what's it called? Um, the reason we're doing this whole thing with the functions is because um is because the reason we're doing this whole thing with the functions is because when we will do them, um, we will be able to get to what's it called? We will be able to get to the we will be able to get to the um we will be able to get to the what's it called? Event listeners. And once we get to event listeners, we can continue on with this section over here. Um Store a function inside a variable and run it. Passing a function as an argument. Just just do this. All right, so okay, let's get this. Excuse me. All right, so okay, I'm just gonna. So he gave us a callback function, so You know, see, it would be nice to what's it called? Have ChatGPT be able to explain you things from like first principles. You know, um, with having at least that in mind. All right, so we're very far into this thing, and it's good. Um, so we got this guy over here, project one, function basics. Okay, let's see. Project one, function basics. Learn hello, right? What's it called? And copy, Control C. Project two, project three. Where is that guy? There he is. Three, project four, project five, project five. All right, there you go. Okay, excuse me. All right, so all right, we did this guy when we learned about functions. Essentially, project two is function with parameters. We did this guy. We set a parameter, and then we said hello plus name. So it's gonna say greet name. It's gonna pass an argument there later, right? That's what this guy was. Um, that's what this the second mini project was. Process name. Then we got this guy. Hey, what's up? Just pretty boss. This is a really cool file. Um, handle click on the click. Excuse me. So then it says input value, which you could possibly even like in the second one we did this all actually seemingly in one guy. This guy it seems like it divided into two, which is kind of interesting. Um, one with a parameter. This one has this function has a parameter, whereas this one doesn't have a parameter. It's just a regular function. Um, just on click. Looks on click. Um, this one also has a click though, but um, it has a parameter. Um, um, yeah, it's like divided. Kind of interesting. This is like a whole. Then here it seems like it's all one big file, one big function. All right. So we did the. So let's get some dollar signs up over here. Function project two function with parameters. Let's see this guy. Function with parameters. So we did this guy. Um, and this is really easy. We did already. Technically, this thing. Um, we just passed it on to the. We just passed it on to the what's it called document object model. All right, we got project 3 functions as variables. Functions as variables. Let's see. This guy. Functions as variables. Goal store function in a variable. All right, this is really cool. Say bye bye. Bye. Anonymous functions. All right, so we got functions as variables. Goal store a function inside a variable and run it. The goal is to store a function inside a variable. Store a function inside a variable and run it. Yeah. All right, let's do this. So what we're gonna do, new file for mini.html. Or HTML. I'm gonna do script. What we're gonna do is const say bye equals function. Oops. We're gonna do console dot. Or let's make a paragraph. Make a paragraph. ID equals file. And we're gonna make this guy document dot get element by ID. We're gonna do file. I'm gonna change the inner text equals bye bye. All right. So bye. It's gonna say bye. That's pretty much it. And then we're gonna call this guy. Say bye. All right. So what we're gonna do? All right. So we're on our what's it called folder over here. Localhost, and we're gonna call this guy up over here. Hey, let's go. So yeah, just says bye, logs it up into a what's it called? Into a paragraph. I need this guy over here. So bye, learn anonymous functions. So what we want to understand though is what's this whole point of this guy over here? Like what's it? Why is it called an? How come it's called anonymous function? So you might know how to do it, but the process is to kind of still understand, what is the point of the What is the point of the what's it called? What is the point of this guy over here? Okay. What's the point of calling an anonymous function? That's the question. All right. So, what's the point of calling it an anonymous function? So it's just because it's hidden inside the variable, no? Exactly. Calling us has no name directly. Alright, let's see what this guy means. Okay, const say by. Okay, that makes sense. That's what it means. It's an anonymous function. Has a name. Say hi. All right, um, so in a regular function, right? So all right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a button for this guy. Button on click. We're gonna pass this say by into a function. Um, log out. This doesn't really mean you log out. It's just how to say for like decorative purposes. I'm just making like a pretend thing, pretend login, pretend logout functionality. Login. Um, wait, hold on. Login. So it's not real login. You're not logging out of your computer, right? Which is just it's just what's it called? Uh, like pretend. Like we're just making like a stand-up kind of toy that's not real. It's like what's it called? It's like a made up what's that thing called? A replica. Made up replica that just pretends like it's gonna say this stuff on the screen, but it's not really logging out because it's a different program. It's just a simulation. We're making a simulation, right? So like we said, these things will make you put a change the visual side of things. Like we said, there's stuff that changes the visual side of the code and stuff that changes the invisible side. So stuff that changes the visible, some stuff that changes the invisible. All right. So this has no name. Has no name. It's anonymous. But we assign it to the variable say by. Colon has a name. It's just stored in a variable. Why are we even using that? So, inline callbacks. Set timeout. That's interesting. That's interesting. You can assign the same function to multiple variables. You can assign the same function to multiple variables or pass it around. All right. Anonymous function. So can you just write a function without a name though? Like just function. Let's see. Yes, you can run a function without a name, but it's only specific will just or just expects a function, not a standalone function. Can't do this on your own. Oh, that makes sense. But you can do this when assigning or passing as a send. Got you. Got you. Immediately call it. Immediately invokes function expression. That's interesting. Expression. It's a value like a number or string. Pro- projects would you have to do in order to understand the concept of functions as expressions, though? Let's see. You need function definition, function expression, high expression. Yeah, function wasted, wasted. All right, so how many projects and objects have to be in order to the concept of waste hoisting? By doing them, you would be boss at wasting. All right, four focus beginner projects. Boss at hoisting. Hoisting boss. All right. Hoisting var. Hoisting is let and cons. All right, let's see. This thing's pretty boss. All right, so um, what's it called? Um, we gotta go. We gotta get a step deep. We gotta. We have to like. How to say? Teleport. Teleport within a second time. We gotta teleport. It's pretty crazy, guys. And it's good that we're reviewing these things because everybody knows about this hoisting stuff. That this thing works in this way. Okay, so we're just gonna make things much boss. We'll make it even. We can make it boss. All right. So after this project, you understand the difference between var, let, constant, hoisting. Okay. Challenge. At the end, it makes it go over tricky things in a quiz. All right. So we got this guy up over here. All right. So Um, what we'll do is project two. Excuse me. Um, oops. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna go a little bit into doing hoisting a little bit. Callbacks. Um, so it might look a little chaotic. However, you guys, how to say, um, fasten your seatbelts. All right, because we're gonna learn a little bit about hoisting. All right, so if you don't know what hoisting is, it's like this thing that like gets this that like somehow like connects things that are like not opposite on the page. Anyway, this is gonna help us become a boss at hoisting. All right. Uh, to become a boss at hoisting, you need about four to five focused beginner projects. Each one teaches a crucial piece of how JavaScript handles variable and functions and hoisting, which is often confusing at first. This is right and very accurate. Um, project track, become boss at hoisting. All right. What is hoisting? All right. Um, so yes, um, it would be nice to learn how this works because you know, unless you're like some kind of prophet or something that can see future and stuff like that, the only way to learn about this is probably through here or if somebody teaches you. All right, so right, okay, so in JavaScript, declarations are moved to the top of their scope before the code runs, but only declarations, not assignments. Project one's functions, function declarations versus function expressions are moved to the top of their scope for the assignments. Man, what the heck is this? All right, so project one, the function declaration versus function expression goal. Understand which function types are hoisted. Okay. Um. All right. Let's just. We kind of have to understand this. Oops. All right. Let's just kind of. We gotta learn a little bit of this vocabulary. Um. All right. What does it mean? Great question. Let's break it down clearly because understanding this is key at becoming boss always. What does it mean? JavaScript declaration and move to the top of the scope. Let's define two parts: declaration and assignment. Okay, declaration just tells the virus we'll use this variable called name. Assignment gives the variable the value. Okay. Hoisting moves only this. Okay. Um, hoisting moves only this. This. this is treated like this. Declarations. Dec- this is treated like this. Okay. Um, var name. Okay, fine. Real example. Um, undefined. We got um, undefined. Oh, okay. Var name equals David undefined. Even though we log name before assigning it, there's no error because var name was hoisted to the top. The name exists. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. How many projects would you have to do in order understand declarations and as a prerequisite for functions? As a prerequisite for function for thing hoisting. Okay, declare versus assign. So very interesting, because we're working from up to down, and now we're actually seeing why they teach all these projects in the beginning. um, Project declare versus assign. See what happens when you declare and assign on separate lines. Okay, fine. Let's see this thing. All right, let's do this. All right, we're gonna add this to magnum opus. So remember, we're trying to get to event listeners so we can get to that one project eventually. Oops. All right. Okay. Alrighty. Copy code. All right, this is interesting. Wait a minute. Okay. All right, so we gotta get this guy over here. We gotta copy this guy. All right, so project 2. Okay. So now we're gonna do this guy over here. Add some more lines. All right, so excellent. Um, then, all right, excellent. You're now asking a core prerequisite concepts to truly understand hoisting and declarations versus assignment. Um, so, um, all right. So you're asking now the core for the core prerequisite concepts to truly understand hoisting, declarations versus assignments. You only need 3 beginner level projects to fully grasp the difference. After doing these, hoisting becomes obvious. All right. All right. Um, you only need 3 beginner level projects to fully grasp the difference. After doing this, hoisting becomes obvious. All right, you guys. So this is Pretty Boss, um, mini track, mini track mastering declarations versus assignments. Um, okay, mastering declarations versus assignments. Project one, declare versus assign. All right, split them up. Goal: see what happens when you declare and assign on separate lines. Um, okay, so separate lines. So we got var name console log name. All right, so var. So okay, we're gonna do our project HTML. Add a script. Um, declare. Split them up. All right, var name. Okay, so console dot log name. This is gonna show us undefined. Name equals David. Learn var is the declaration. David is the assignment. All right, so okay, the declaration name. Oh, um, project to assign without declaration. Oh, okay, fine. So we're gonna make a. Okay, makes sense. Var name. So var name console log name console log dot name. Okay, so var equals David console log name. Learn var's declaration assignment. Okay, so let's do project two. Copy. Okay, project two. Oops. Okay. Project two, assignment without declaration. Goals, see what happens when you assign a value without declaring it. See what happens when you assign um, a value without declaring it. See what happens when you assign a value without declaring it. See what happens when you assign a value without declaring it. Okay. So here, assign a value without declaring it. Assign a value without declaring it. Okay, fine. So function age equals works globally in slopey mode, but dangerous. Without var constant signing. is creates a global variable in sloppy mode. What the heck is this? What the heck? That's crazy, man. I gotta understand this stuff. Um, how many projects would you have to do to understand sloppy mode? We focus on understanding sloppy mode, aka non-strict mode. JavaScript doesn't take too many projects, but unlocks some strange behaviors. What's a global variable? See how assigning a variable without var, let, or const behaves in sloppy mode. Um, see how const assign variable. See how assigning a variable without var, let, const behaves in sloppy mode. Um, sloppy mode. All right, let's add these up. We're stacking up on projects. We're trying to see how this will work with ChatGPT. All right, we're really hoping that what's it called? We kind of believe this thing a little bit. So sloppy mode. All right. All right. Um. So So it's called non-strict mode, and now we're gonna try to understand what it means. So, implicit global variable. What is the opposite of implicit global variable? The explicit. An implicit is one that is created, and the opposite is okay. How many projects would you have to understand order to understand the difference between implicit and explicit? So, and what would be the context checks that by doing them you would be a boss by default of doing them? All right, let's see. Fantastic. To become a boss at understanding the difference between implicit and explicit variables, you only need 3 well-structured beginner projects. City, Yerushalayim. What a good, what a good city. All right. Fantastic. Truly become a boss at understanding the difference between the implicit and explicit variables. You only need three well-structured beginner projects. Mini project track, declaring variables the right way, const, create explicit, you're telling JavaScript directly, hey, we're creating this variable, introduce a block scope, const versus function block scope. Got you. All right. Um. Okay, we're gonna do. Da, da, da. All right. Okay. Let's see. I'm just gonna add a bunch of projects. How many projects would you have to do? And just copy this. How many projects would you have to do to understand to understand in order? Would you have to do in order to understand? Okay. How many projects would you have to do that when you do them by default you would become a boss at um knowing knowing the difference between between the different scopes. How many projects would you have to do that when you do them by default you would become a boss at knowing the difference between the main different scopes? In JS, um, the default of doing them, and what would all them be? Mark. All right. Great question. To become a boss at understanding the main scopes in JavaScript by default through projects, you will want to complete 5 strategic beginner projects. Each one focuses on a specific scope type. Dang. Master scopes. Five. Five scopes to mastery. All right. So we're gonna learn a little bit about scopes. Scope boss. All right. So let's just do one project. Um. All right. All right. Let's do this. All right. So, great question to become boss at understanding the main scopes um, in JavaScript. By default, through projects, you will want to complete 5 strategic projects. Wishing to become boss at understand the main scopes in JavaScript. By default, through projects, you want to complete 5 basic strategic projects. Each one focuses on specific scope type and how variables behave inside them. Master tracks scope in JavaScript 5 project path to mastery. By the end, you'll naturally understand. Alright, scope, function scope, let's see, lexical scope, scope chaining. Alright, project 1, global scope. Alright. Um, oops. Alright, scope. Alright, so we're gonna do this project right now. We're gonna learn about the global scope. Okay, let's see. Mini project. All right, we're on the sixth mini project. HTML. All right. Oops. All right. So global mini project. Okay. Let city equal Yerushalayim. Salam. Let's go. City equal Yerushalayim. Function print city. So we're gonna make a city. Okay, it says console log. However, let's do document dot. Okay, hold up. We gotta make this first of all. All right, we just cut this. We made it cut. We're gonna put in our inside our script instead. Script. Um, document. Okay, we're gonna put in a. We're gonna put this guy in a paragraph. Paragraph. Um, ID equals paragraph. Paragraph. Okay, this is we got just calling this guy a paragraph. Get element by ID. Call this guy paragraph. Oops. ID paragraph. And we want to do the inner text, like we figured out that this changes the DOM. And when you change the DOM, by default it changes the document. Actually, it's like a reflection of it. So that's why we're gonna do Jerusalem city equals city. All right, so we want to print city. So we're gonna make a button underneath this button. We're gonna do on click, print city. Then what's gonna happen is print city. And we gotta say, gotta give this button a name. Oops. Print city. Oops. All right. So now we're gonna go over to this guy over here. 4 mini. This is already 6 mini. Oops. Okay. Oh, dang it. This is not the right one. This is the one we didn't get a chance to get to today, so we'll do it with God's help next time. Okay, Print City. Eventually when we get there. Yeah. Let's go. So we got this thing. We pressed, and we actually overwrote this thing. The reason it doesn't add more, I think, is because it's not a penned child. That's just what I think, and what you guys see. There doesn't seem like it doesn't do any overriding. However, it does. I say pop another thing inside here. Yerushalayim. All right. So let's see. Da da da. All right, you guys. So let's just see how we learn about how we actually learn about this. Console log can access global. Okay, so this is a global. This is a global. What's it called? This is a global variable because this is a global variable because the variable was declared outside any function block and outside any function block. Their variables declared outside any function block live in the global space, accessible anywhere unless shadowed. All right, so it seems like later on it's gonna say if you do the same thing with this guy, this is irrelevant code or irrelevant text project function scope with var. Go understand how var is function scoped. Is function scoped, not block scoped. Function text, var message, hello message, test message. What? Variables declared with var are only visible inside the function where they're declared. That's interesting. So, let's see. Okay. Functions scope with var. Oops. Function scope with var. Function test. Var message equals hello. Um, variables declared with var are only visible inside the function they were declared. What's the problem with that? That's the question. Oh, um, log message. Ah, yeah. All right, so let's kind of question this guy over here. Uh, we're gonna get this ChatGPT real quick. Going on a little bit. So, what type of scope is this then? This is function scope probably. All right. Function scope. Your code function test. Var equals message hello const text. Oh, not visible outside of the function. Yeah. So the para so the ar- so the argument is what scope then? If it's not inside the function scope argument. Great thinking. Yeah, now you're asking what kind of scope does a function argument have if it's not declared inside the function body? Answer function scope just like var. Even though function arguments aren't declared with var, they're still part of the function scope. Name is a parameter argument of the function. It is scoped to the entire function like a var declared inside. Think of function arguments like this. Um, function arguments live inside the function scope. However, if the var is not accessible, if the var is not accessible in what's it called? Um, if the var is not accessible inside in however if the var is not accessible in the if the var is not accessible in the uh function argument, um shouldn't it be a different scope then apart from the function body scope, or is it just not accessible because it's not part of the function body scope? You're asking a very deep and important question. Your core question: if a var inside a function is not accessible in the function argument, does that mean the argument and the body are different scopes? Short answer: no, they are not different scopes. Function arguments and var live in the same function. Console log. Okay. How many of the projects? All right. So, okay. We're gonna get this, guys. God's help. We get this. All right. All right. All right, this should work. All right. Okay, let's swoop this little guy over here. All right, so we're gonna get this guy over here. How many beginner projects? Project one. All right, we're gonna do one more project with God's help. One mini project. Okay. 7 and HTML. Okay. So, all right. Okay. So I'm a beginner project. Okay, awesome. You're diving into how parameters and var interact in function scope and want to master by doing to fully understand this concept that function arguments and var declarations live in the same function scope and how many collisions and execution and how name collisions and executions um name collision name collisions and executions order affects them. You need 3 carefully designed beginner projects. Mastering function scope versus parameters versus var, project parameters versus var, different names. All right, so function name Yerushalayim. Um, function greet name var city equals Yerushalayim. Jerusalem. So console parameters are available inside the whole function. Okay, parameters are available inside the whole function. That's probably why. Okay, so we'll do. Okay, we're gonna put this again. Our HTML. We're gonna make paragraph. I R button. The button equals button. Boo. Script. Oops. Script. Uh, button. City. Okay, so now we're gonna get this guy over here. Okay, city, function, name, city. Um, we're gonna do document dot get element by ID. Um, par paragraph text. Oops, and text equals city. Oops, has to be a variable. City. So we're declaring the city, and so he says the city. It's supposed to be function greet name city. So city we're declaring Jerusalem. Okay, so it's available in function scope. So um, learn greet. So we're gonna call the button. Actually, we don't even need this. You just need on click. On click. Greet. Greet name. I guess maybe let's see if it works like this. Um. Okay. City. So let's see. 7. Okay, what's the problem over here? We need to put this name. Oh, that's why. Okay, let's try without this guy. Function. Ah, there you go. All right, so you see this name is available inside the what's it called? Function scope. So are you guys? We're just learning about function scopes over here. We did a couple of what's it called? We did a couple of examples here. We also did here we did global scope. We see that even outside the function, it's available. Right now, this whole thing, the reason we're doing this is because we generated for ourselves a bunch of what's it called projects that by doing them we'll be able to understand more about what's it called we'll be able to understand more about to get eventually to the event listeners. We just have to understand, it seems like, a little bit about this thing called scope. Oops. um uh yeah. uh so we gotta understand a little bit this thing called scope. um var 1. So once we get through these, we can get through eventually understanding about the different declarations. And once we understand a little bit the declarations, we can understand a little bit about hoisting. Once we understand a little bit about the hoisting, right, um, we can understand about the function scopes more and the global scopes, and then more about um, the different types of functions. Um, and then once we do that, we can understand more about the um, uh, function assignments, declarations. Then we can understand more about the event listeners. It's not that much though. And then the difference between the well, before we had to finish the difference between anonymous, passing a function as an argument, callbacks, function as parameters. So it's pretty cool. And then, like as we did already, this just gonna have to get through these main projects, and then as you see, once we get to the bottom over here, look what it says here. Now you're ready for event listeners. All right, so we're gonna have to do a couple more projects, and eventually we'll get through it with God's help. Yeah, and this is already coming up soon. Yeah, and this is probably the last one over here in this section. Changing multiple elements. All right. All right, guys. Till next time, and with God's help at the end, we'll be able to really get the hang of this, and we'll probably even be able to uh, hit a bunch of more things along the way. Um, this is pretty cool. Way to kind of learn a bunch of stuff, and I did this. What you guys are looking at over here. Um, in the previous section with the Visual Studio, and so that's why I wanted to get you guys to do it too, because it's pretty cool. Once you finish it, you actually get through a lot of concepts, so, and that's why we made more. That's why we made more of these projects to understand, is because what's it called, um once we actually get through it, it's gonna be boss. Like, we're gonna be able to do a lot of excuse me, we're going to be able to get a lot of concepts down, and as you see, it's talking about the function scopes, about global and function scopes, um, whatever, all this JavaScript stuff, which is pretty cool, which is what I told you guys, that there is, how to say, an invisible layer, and then there's a visible layer. There's stuff they change automatically, and it changes the visual layer, visual side of things automatically. There's stuff that you change that will change the, what's it called, um invisible side. Stuff that you change that will change the invisible side, right? And we need some of those things to make this thing work. And we're not going too deep into how this window works, like this browser, right? Because that goes really deep into the code and whatever. And we just need the basic stuff to make the basic visible things work, and the basic invisible things that are over there, change them, that we could fix the visible side. So we're actually trying to make the functions, try to make things work. And by doing this, with God's help, we will be able to kind of get a grasp of the entire picture. All right, guys. Anyway, wish you guys the best. With God's help, we'll continue next time. All right. Peace.